Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Jimmy Nguyen. He's the president of the Bitcoin Association. We're going to take a look at fulfilling the original Bitcoin vision. Jimmy, it's great to have you back with us.
Thanks for having me,
in
Jill.
New York.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Bitcoin Association.
We are the global industry association for businesses in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and we support Bitcoin SV in particular as the Bitcoin project that is dedicated to fulfill the original Satoshi vision for Bitcoin of its creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. So we've got everyone from mining pools, merchants, developers, application creators, as well as enterprises that are part of this global association.
So what is Bitcoin Core and how did it not fulfill Bitcoin's original vision?
So Bitcoin Core is the name of the development group that controls the protocol, essentially the client software, which is used to operate on the Bitcoin network. And what Bitcoin Core did is continue the restriction of the block size on Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin has not become more used around the world. The block size on what people think is the Bitcoin network, BTC, I'll call it Bitcoin Core, is stuck at 1 megabyte in size. That was supposed to be a temporary restriction early on in Bitcoin's life to allow it to grow safely, but they never lifted that block cap. And that means the BTC network can only do about 3 transactions per second or 7 transactions per second at speed, at the peak periods. The problem with that is you cannot create an electronic global cash system that rivals Visa and MasterCard. Visa's network does 2,000 transactions a second, and at peak periods, 56,000 transactions a second. So Bitcoin Core essentially artificially crippled the network. They are trying to move payments to this off-chain channel called the Lightning Network. We don't think that'll work, and that is why Bitcoin SV emerged to reclaim the vision for Bitcoin to be an electronic cash system, which means bigger blocks to fit more transactions, high speed, and keep fees really low. The other problem on the BTC network is when you have small blocks, the fee you have to pay to send a transaction can get expensive. Just today I checked, it's about $1.40. At the end of May, it was about $4. At peak periods, it's hit $40. And you can't have an electronic cash system. No one will use it if it costs that much to send a Bitcoin transaction.
So can BSV transform the payments industry then?
I think absolutely. What our vision is very simple. We are restoring the original Bitcoin protocol. We are scaling big. We started not at 1 megabyte, but at 128 megabyte blocks. And recently we had a protocol upgrade, lifting the block cap to 2 gigabytes. That's 2,000 megabytes, 2,000 times the capacity of BTC. That means right now we are having blocks that allow about 1,000 transactions per second comfortably, and at the full 2 gigabytes, 9 to 14,000 transactions per second. Next February, we're lifting the cap entirely and letting the network decide what is necessary for block size from market forces. Our transaction fees are really tiny, and this is what's good for payment networks. Right now, it costs less than 1/5 of 1 cent, US cent, to send a transaction on the BSV network. Over time, that's going to get even lower to be tiny, tiny fractions. That means this can power a global payments network that is more efficient for all of the people in the ecosystem, merchants, as well as payment service providers who will have to adapt their business models.
So would you need a Visa or a MasterCard to run this network, or is it standalone?
It is a standalone network. Bitcoin is designed to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. People forget that. It means I should be able to send you directly Bitcoin. It doesn't mean, however, that payment service providers or the payment card networks will become obsolete. I think they have a role in this ecosystem. They can enable processing of Bitcoin payments. They can play a part as a payment service provider in this network. It also enables micropayments. We're seeing an explosion of creative application development on BSV that's beyond payments, but using the BSV blockchain as a data ledger for business and enterprise usage. And that's the big difference between us and BTC. They're trying to be the store of value, which is this, frankly, artificial after-the-fact narrative to justify that their network has been crippled as a slow network. We can combine the power of Bitcoin's blockchain for both fast payments and data so that we can see, for example, there's a social media app called Twitch and another app called Uptime SV being built, which allows people to earn BSV by posting social media content or by providing the computing power of your mobile device to help test website uptime and downtime around the world. That allows you as a user to actually earn small amounts of BSV, which I can send you very cheaply into your wallet because it only costs fractions of a cent. So it combines the power of money and data in one blockchain, and that's really powerful for enterprise applications in addition to payment networks.
And when do you think this could be applied? Year, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, so Bitcoin SV emerged just last November, but we've seen this huge explosion. Our technical team is supporting the scaling of the network. We've seen some stress tests recently which had 200 plus megabyte blocks mined, including one recently which had 800,000 transactions in one block, which is supposed to happen. Blocks generate on average every 10 minutes. Imagine the scale of that. We are preparing what I call the technical infrastructure and highway. Application developers are building on it. I think it'll take a couple of years for the ecosystem to mature to the point where you'll see daily usage. But in the meantime, I think we're going to see some brilliant business applications come out from some creative developers over the next 3 to 6 months.
All right, Jimmy, thanks so much for joining us at
Thank you.
MarketSite. And thank you for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.